Hi, good afternoon, Black people. I hope you all are having a wonderful day so far. Um, we won't have an extensive session here today. Like we talked about last time, we're a little bit ahead of schedule. I'm going to dive fully into the lecture on Chapter 8, Prisoners' Rights, beginning on Monday. But I'm hoping again you all got ahead of this reading. It's an important chapter for you all to read as criminal justice professionals. And most importantly, I'm really hoping I can throw a gang of extra credit points out, particularly since ain't nobody else here to get them. So tell me, like, just in general, like, look, put them notes away, put them notes away, put them notes away. Try and tell me as much as you can without the use of your notes.
Okay.
So in general, so just anything that I'll ask you some more specific questions in a moment, but just start out telling me anything in the chapter that you learned, anything that you found interesting, anything at all.
Okay, so basically, what I read, what I listened to twice, was basically
you can't listen to this material. Absolutely good.
The involvement of the Eighth Amendment about how unusual punishment.
Good.
Unusual excessive bail. So in the book, it just says like the involvement of the amendment, how it went from when you got convicted of a crime, immediately you was beheaded, they chopped your ear off, you chopped your head off, and hand off, they tortured you, they pulled you apart by a horse. And then for women, it was real bad, and before they started like evolving the law, it was where women were, before they were killed, they were choked, then burned. And then it evolved some more to where, okay, well, the only people who had an immunity to the law was people within the church. So like the certain people in the church couldn't be killed. So like their first offense, they wouldn't be able to be they wouldn't be on trial. It would just be like a swept under the rug. Mm-hmm. And also I learned more about prisoners' rights, about how when you go to jail and you go to prison, you forfeit your freedom. So you forfeit your rights. So it says that, and when you there's in the book, it says that when they sign into the if they sign a plea deal, or whether when they go to jail, they let them know, like, when you go to prison, you forfeit all your rights. But you got religion rights, you got health rights, and they got freedom to practice religion in jail, because some people had hair. So like, they were like, oh, my hair is a part of my religion, so you had to like, some people like petition it. It was some case where, a man brought it in play, his hair was needed for his religion. So they had to come up with a decision whether to let him keep it or not. And also, not all religions are practiced widely. So like they want to practice a certain religion. I forgot what it was. I'm going to look, but I think it said, but it also said that, well, they didn't, at that time, they didn't have enough security. So they could provide, a place for their religion because they didn't have enough security. And then also like, it has the rights, like
hold fast 1 second, Malik. Let me let Latasia get in. Very good. But one thing in terms of cleaning up the verbiage a little bit, when you said they forfeit and lose all their rights when they go to prison, but then you corrected that and you talked about the rights that they do have. That there are many constitutional rights that they have, even beyond that, including, again, the right to practice religion. So whether it be like, again, somebody that may be a Rastafarian and they need to keep their hair, Hasidic Jew, where they may need to keep their beard. They dietary restrictions where Muslim and Jewish cats, like, they can't eat pork and stuff. So as our tax dollars have to make sure that they provide that. The health care is a really important one. So keep those things in mind. We'll come back to you in a moment, but let me see if any of the ladies got anything to say, like anything at all that you learned from this chapter or that you found interesting.
50 years ago, inmates really, they was denied all their rights, even the humane, the living conditions, their rights, and they feel like when you become a prisoner that you don't have no rights, like how the free people outside, all your rights are gone.
Good. Anything else from this chapter so far? Who is Kirk Odom? Like, so a lot of times they start these chapters, they try and give you a case study to try and highlight the larger points. Does anybody recall Kirk Odom, who he was?
Was he the one that he got beaten by 2 prison guards, and he had got beaten, he knocked his tooth out, and fractured his skull a little bit, so they awarded him $3.5 million in damages.
That was another case. That's not who Mr. Odom was. Anybody recall who he was? Kirk Odom. Again, and like, look, all right, so now you can take, well, make note. Don't take your notes out, notebooks out yet. Again, I want you to see how much you can remember from the, just off of, what you read already. Again, you're not going to have your notes on quiz and test day. So again, good job, Malik. You've earned 2 extra credit points so far. I hope your classmates can pick up. Again, I need specificity of things that, again, you're going to learn in the, that you're going to be tested for. So what is the main document? We talked about this a little bit last time that informs prisoners' rights.
Constitution.
The U.S. Constitution.
Yes, good. So what are some things like, so there's another thing, our rights are informed by the Constitution, and then there's another word that starts with the S that also informs, our rights.
The statutes.
Letitia?
The statutes.
Excellent. 1 extra credit point, young lady. Very good. So statutes. So those, again, are historic court cases that, like we talked about, Miranda versus Arizona, that establish, hey, you have the right to do this and that. The Constitution, Letitia, it tried to think of as many different rights that we should have as possible. The right to free speech, the right to religion. But as society changes, it's cases that come about, that determine what level of rights we should have. Like somebody had mentioned, I think it was Nigeria had mentioned that, maybe they should have a right to cell phones. That they didn't have cell phones 100 years ago, so it wasn't no court cases that or the Constitution couldn't speak to that over 200 years ago. So there probably would have to be a court case that would have to speak to that. So very good. What are some of, now here's the tricky one. Again, trust yourself. You ain't got to know them all. What are some of the key amendments in the Constitution that really inform prisoners' rights? What are some of the key amendments? You ain't got to know them all. You don't even have to tell me what they do. Just tell me the number.
It was the first, the fourth, the fifth.
Excellent.
The sixth.
Yep.
I think it was the 6th, the 10th, and the 14th. I think in the 8th.
Good. 2 extra credit points there, Letasia. Very, very good. Anybody want to try and tell me what some of those rights protect? Here's a really tricky one. Again, don't worry about perfection. You don't lose nothing if you get them wrong. So of those rights, what are they? Tell me what some of them do.
One of them protects for them to petition to go to court.
Wait, which one? Which one, Malik? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part. I apologize.
I put my notes out. No notes.
No notes.
Oh,
Trust yourself. Trust yourself.
I was saying 14, but I may be wrong. But I know one of them petition to where they so many times in a year they can petition to go to court for their case.
Excellent, good. What that refers to, Malik, is due process. Again, that hey, y'all might have saw me do it on TV. We still have the due process where I have rights, even as a prisoner, to again have my case heard and to appeal. Give me some more. Good.
The First Amendment grants the freedom of speech.
Put your full face on camera. I can't. I need to make sure. Say it again.
The First Amendment grants freedom of speech and religion and all that. Am I right?
Absolutely.
I'm looking at you.
1 extra credit point. Very good. An important right. That look, you still have a right to be able to speak up for yourself. Again, you have the right to practice your religion. That if you're Jewish, when you get arrested, you still have the right to practice your faith while you're in prison. Very good. I'm very impressed so far, young people. Anybody want to give me any more? Any at all? Y'all know this. Come on now. Somebody tell me about the 4th Amendment. The 4th Amendment is a really important one. Anybody?
And the 4th Amendment, the cruel and unusual punishment.
That's 8th. Also very important.
That's the seizures, the searches and seizures.
Good. So searches and seizures, so even in as a prisoner, with this, and this is really important for every human being to know, quite frankly, in America, that the police do have the right to search you and your person, your property, what have you. However, there is very specific circumstances, Letasia, that justifies that. Like they ain't supposed to like. So y'all might have like heard about like stop and frisk in New York City a few years back, where they could just see
Yeah.
you. Mainly just saw black people. What a coincidence! And then police could just stop you and pat you down. That's illegal, man. Like that's unconstitutional. Like so, eventually that was thrown out. But like the police are only supposed to search you if they feel threatened or if they got to arrest you. So if they feel like they're threatened, they got the right to get in to search you and all that. But otherwise, there are certain protections. Now, again, as a prisoner, you ain't got the same protections as, you know, Malik, how you talk about, they don't have the same protections as we do, like on the street, where if the police want to search my home, what do they have to get? I think you froze up, Malik. What do they have to get if they want to search my home?
A warrant.
One more time, attention. Them fly ass nails get in the way, girl.
They gotta get a warrant.
Good. In a prison, in your prison cell, they ain't got to do all that. They can just come on in, like, you know, but there's still like, you know, certain protections there. So for example, like increasingly, like, you know, Malik, you had talked about female prisoners that if we think that Latasia may have like, you know, put some drugs in some body parts, smuggled some drugs in body parts in prison, which again, not to be too graphic, but that does happen. Yeah, we all adults here, that they got to go get a female to like, you know, search her. It can't be no freaking dude up in there trying to like get some feels on, you know, so those kind of things are really important. Study those closely. We're going to talk about them in great detail. Good job so far. Now, we talked about some different statutes. Latasia told us what a statute is. Do y'all remember some of the specific court cases?
I can tell you what each one was about, but I can't tell you the pursuit. I was my notes.
That's okay. So study that up again, like in more than like remember, like, okay, this case, like, you know, this is the name of the case. I want you to be able to explain what rights came out of the case. And like, you know, and all of them, like, it's really interesting stuff. Like it's telling you a story, like, look, like the story you talked about, Malik, where it's like, hey, this brother's a Rastafarian. Like, you know, he been growing his locks, you know, since he was like, you know, 12 years old, his hair all the way down here. He's like, hey, like this is part of like, you know, sincerely part of my religious beliefs where it's ungodly for me to cut my hair. Like, so so stories like that is what inform these court cases. So it's like, okay, look, I kind of fear you, dog. You got to go to court because the law says you're supposed to get a haircut in here and boom, boom, boom. But if you can go before a judge and you can get certain, you can meet certain criteria, and you can get those religious rights protected. So make sure that you really study like the stories behind those cases. That's all we're doing there, looking at the different statutes. Let me see, a couple more things before we break. What's a hands-off doctrine? 3 extra credit points if anybody can explain that. What's the hands-off doctrine? You may need to unmute yourself. The hands-off doctrine.
Okay. No, I ain't gonna say it.
Why? You don't know? It ain't like I'm gonna take your points back if you get it wrong.
You're right. Still, I won't be wrong either.
I'm probably gonna like see if we can get you suspended for a couple of weeks, but you know, you be all good.
Okay, but
I'm just tripping.
hands off doctrine is I'm trying to remember like, specifically what. Okay.
Study that closely.
Okay.
I don't believe you read it yet, which is okay, but I need you to be.
I
need you to
read the
understand
book.
that. What's the Prison Litigation Reform Act? Well, let me ask it this way. What are the components of the Prison Litigation Reform Act? What are the components of the Prison Litigation Reform Act?
Rights to the 4 rights, which was like basically like necessities, like which was like the medical. I think somebody was about housing, about how, you know, they stepped on top of each other, but you know, there was like when you go to jail, prison, that like strips your rights to that. So, you know.
Dude.
Man.
And look, it's okay if you don't know some of this stuff today, study them closely. There are 3 categories of views on how we should treat prisoners. There are 3 categories of views that the author talked about in this chapter. What are those? What are the 3 categories of views that the author talked about in which we should view and how we should treat inmates. 3 views.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, strange.
Oh, okay. I wrote those down in my notes. You said the 3 views.
I can't see you.
No notes.
You said no notes, but I wrote them down.
No.
Right.
I wrote mine down. No notes, sis.
Right.
What's up?
All right, so somebody look at your notes and tell me.
Okay, I can look at my notes right now.
Yes.
Okay, we got the crime patrol view. That's what you talking about?
Nope.
No? Okay, then no, I'm wrong then. I ain't write it down there.
So the 3 views. Actually, no, like I lied to you, Nigeria. You're right. I apologize. 1 extra credit point for you being right and me being wrong. The crime control view is one. I apologize.
Okay, and the humanistic view,
Good.
and then the legislative, the
Legalistic.
Yeah, my bad.
Legalistic. You all good?
and the group
There we
view.
go.
Somebody tell me about the hands-off doctrine in your notes.
I didn't write nothing about that hands document.
Hold on.
No, not a lot of critical reading in this so far. And look, the reading. This is like are all of y'all criminal justice majors, or are y'all just taking this class like as an elective? Are y'all criminal justice majors?
I'm not.
For sure.
I am.
For sure.
I
Well,
am.
Well, listen, ladies, like I don't want y'all just doing this just to like, let me memorize this stuff, so I can like, pass this test. I want you to learn about the 8th Amendment in this class, and I want it to stick there forever. I want y'all to know about the 4th Amendment, and I want y'all to be able to educate all y'all friends about it, in addition to like, understanding your own work. I think even though I was not a criminal justice major myself, like I think criminal justice is really interesting and the law is really interesting. So like, with this in mind, like, really take time to learn about it and give yourself a head start on this. You all live in an information age, so the more that you know and the more that you learn, the more your earning power is. And there are few people that have greater earning potential than people that really know and master the law. So it's disappointing when we don't take time to learn about these things, particularly as Black people, because knowledge of the law has been used against us so very many times. And when y'all are paying $20,000 a year to learn about this stuff and still won't take time to do it, then is a sad commentary for the rest of our society. So we got to do a little bit better. I'm going to help y'all today by getting started. If you have it in front of you, open up your book. If not, and I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. Again, log on and then open up to chapter 8 on Cengage. Open up to chapter 8 on Cengage. And we can walk through some of this together, and we can see how painless reading can be and how easy it can be to get these extra credit points, how easy these whack-ass quizzes can be, how seamless these assignments can be, and just how much more power we have within this system, the more that we take the time to learn about it. As you'll see, it's not going to take you that long. Now, I'll give you a couple of moments and then we'll get started in a second.
Hey, Dr. Muhammad.
Say it again, sir.
Are you free for a Zoom call after this, after the class?
Yes, I can meet with you briefly.
Okay.
All right, so join along with me when you can. I'll go ahead and get us started. And then I'm going to hand off the baton to you as we go along. And again, as I go back, and hopefully you can see my screen as well, just as an extra supplement. I always look at kind of the outline of the chapter itself. Where again, the book is set up in a really structured way. There are 8 sections to this chapter, Malik. You ain't got to sit down and read all 8 sections all at once. Like, I mean, but you can't give me 3 sections a day. Like that'll take you like literally 20 minutes. Well, y'all don't read, like it's hard to be patient with this stuff because it's remarkably lazy. It really, you all understand that, correct?
Yes. I mean, with the book, or if you listen to it, it only took me an hour to listen to it. It only takes an hour to listen to it.
Absolutely. And that's again, right. So you ain't even got to read it. But do make sure that you're really comprehending the material, that you're focused at a time where it can really stick. But take your time to do this. So let's go again. Like, so when we say prisoners' rights, let's start there before we even get into the book. What does that mean to you? The right to do what? We've talked about some of this already. The right to do what? What do y'all think? Again, what does that mean to you? If you was in prison, we talked about this a little bit last time. What would you like to have the right to do? I know Malik said he would like to have the right to fuck. Nigeria said he want to have the right to talk on her cell. What else?
Honestly, now we here in the chat, I think like mostly for me, if I was in jail, I want to have the rights to live stably until the end of my sentence if it was alone.
Okay. So you just want to be able to sit in your cell all day and not do anything? Like that's the basic rights you want to have? You don't need a TV, you don't need no books, you don't need no internet access.
I don't feel like that's deserving. When you go to prison,
you don't need food. So if you went to jail, I want to challenge us to get out of this white neoconservative mindset of quote unquote deserving and non-deserving prisoners. Like any one of us could go to prison. Like we understand that, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying that we finna give these folks direct TV and all that, and that they should get a jacuzzi in a damn prison. But like the notion, again, if we're gonna put our money, really think through this logically. If we're putting our money into putting these people in prison, and we want to give them as little as possible, most of these people are going to come back out on the street at some point. What do we expect to happen with that investment? Secondly, again, any one of us, if y'all don't have no relatives that are in prison, you should consider yourselves damn lucky. Because I do. And I'm not, and the reason why, again, I'm in prison ain't got nothing to do with just because I'm such a good guy. It's a lot of people that, again, that are in prison just because they had bad luck. There are a whole bunch of people in prison, as we'll see shortly, that actually didn't commit the crime. So please, try and, I understand you're criminal justice workers. I would really encourage you to try sometimes to step into the shoes of the inmate as well. This chapter is helping us to try and do that. I know it's difficult in America because we have this mindset and ideology of get tough on crime, and we need to be as harsh on criminals. We need to punish them as harshly as possible. But if you locked up, that's what you want to happen to you. So please picture this as if it could be you, because it could. All types of people that look like you may get locked up for nothing all the time. Let's look more deeply at why this is an important discussion and why we really want to be mindful about, again, perspectives about what they do and don't deserve. Because if you're an American citizen, the Constitution says that there are certain things that you deserve no matter what, even if you're a really awful person. Let me repeat that. The Constitution says that there are certain things that you deserve, even if the Constitution don't say, okay, look, that white people should get these things that they deserve, and black people should get these, and men should get these, and women should get these. It doesn't say that, this type of people that we like should get this. All citizens. It's really important we understand that. A lot too often, again, criminal justice professionals work from the perspective as if, okay, these people are criminals, so we can just treat them any kind of way. I hope we can get away from that. And we want to have a wider discussion of what we mean by the term prisoners' rights. We want to discuss the foundation of prisoners' rights. We want to look at the role that the First, Fourth, Eighth, and 14th Amendments play in these rights. We want to be able to break down the legal services that are available to inmates and discuss the rights that have not been given to inmates. Again, we ain't saying they're going to be able to do everything. Of course, they're going to have some rights forfeited. But again, it's a delicate line between, like, saying, because many people say that they should get no rights at all. I personally reject that notion, and we'll talk about why in a moment. Now, Latasia, as we go through the chapter, a student who's read this chapter should be able to explain certain things if they read it, right? So let's look at the things I expect you to be able to explain if you actually have read this chapter. You should be able to explain what is meant by prisoners' rights. You want to be able to discuss the foundation of prisoners' rights. You want to be able to identify the 1st, 4th, 8th, and 14th Amendments and the rights that they, and how these rights have been awarded to inmates. We want to summarize the legal services that are available to inmates and discuss which rights have not been given to inmates and why. Because again, they do not have the same rights to privacy, for example, in Nigeria. But I'm only going to say one more time about being on camera about for the rest of the semester. I've made the policy really clear in this class about how you get points. Malik, do you want to revisit for the class one more time so I don't have to say it again? What is our attendance policy here? It's pretty clear and obvious.
You must be on camera. Must not pretty much ain't it? Must just be on camera. Can't be doing the most. Can't be in the car driving. Can't be.
No, you can be on the car driving.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. See. Oh, well, just be on camera. You had to have your whole face in the camera. Can't have just the whole face.
Right. Now it's not preferred to be in the car driving because like we're actually like doing business here. But that would be better than not coming at all. Like again, you should be in a position where you can actually focus and attention, not as something second and third hand. If you can't do that though, the lectures are always recorded and it's available for you. So I hope we're clear on that going forward so I don't have to waste more time going over things that was explained like in January. Let's look at the chapter more in more detail and maybe we can learn who Kirk Odom is. I understand why this story like this, Latasia, would maybe not be as significant to Black people like yourselves. I'll read along for you, though I hope you're following. In April 1981, Kirk Odom was arrested and charged with a brutal crime. He was accused of breaking into a woman's apartment before dawn, holding a gun to her head, blindfolding and tying her up, and raping her before making off with $400 in traveler's checks. The case against Odom was shaky, but when it came to trial, the prosecution lawyers produced an ace card. They had a hair, they told the jury, a single strand of hair found on the victim's nightgown that must have come from the rapist. Special Agent Myron T. Schoberg of FBI stood before the jury and said that he had analyzed the rapist's hair found at the crime scene and compared it microscopically with a sample hair taken from Odom's hair. The comparison had produced an exact match, which was significant because it was a very rare phenomenon. This testimony did it. So again, it was rare that you could find like 2 strands of hair and it's going to be an exact match. But somehow this detective found it. The testimony did its job and Odom was found guilty because of that single hair. On April 30th, 2015, on February 28, 2015, a DC Superior Judge ordered the district government to pay a record $9.2 million in damages, not $3.5 million, Malik, $9.2 million in damages to Odom, now 52 years old, who had been in prison and on parole for more than 30 years. Again, impossible to read a story like this. It's really graphic and not remember it. Like, I want us to be partners in this class. I really want that to happen. I want to be a facilitator to your learning. But too often, y'all put more effort and energy into trying to BS and get over on me as opposed to just doing the work. So let me find ways to trick Dr. Muhammad into making him think I really did something so I can get some points. Like, what are you accomplishing with that? If y'all want me to just give y'all an A or B, just let me know. I can do that for y'all. I want us to learn about criminal justice. Also, so he had been in prison and on parole for more than 30 years. It was the largest award in a case tried before the district judge under the District of Columbia's wrongful conviction law. Also, it's one of the largest non-jury awards in an exoneration case in the United States. In his decision, the judge noted the following in Nigeria. Mr. Odom spent more than 22 years of what should have been the prime of his adult life behind bars for a crime he did not commit. During this period, he suffered several prison rapes, a diagnosis of HIV from being raped, the virus that caused AIDS, suicide attempts, depression, and family estrangement. The judge went on to say it was readily apparent to the court at trial that Mr. Odom is only a shell of the young man he was at the time of his wrongful conviction, and only a shell of the grown man he would have become if he had not been wrongly convicted and unjustly imprisoned. Odom was appreciative of the award. 9.2 million could go a long way, but he added, they can't pay me enough money to give me back the years that I've lost. The Odom case is one of many cases that show that courts can make mistakes. And innocent individuals are routinely sentenced to long terms in prisons or given a death penalty. Again, right? Like this system, and it's amazing. As Black people, we watch this system make mistakes all the time. And then we come in here, we talking about, we want to be as tough on criminals as possible. We want to people that look like us that we send into this system that are consistently misused. And there's no effort really to get it justice. A strand of hair, we finna convict this dude of rape. These things have consequences. We did again. The brother that went in here and got HIV. He done lost the prime of his life. For what? We need to be really clear if we're gonna lock somebody up. And if we do lock somebody up, like, we don't get to just treat him any kind of way. Well, hey, he's a criminal, so we just let him get raped. Y'all, again, any one of us can be prisoners at any time. Y'all cool with that being y'all? Y'all don't think the police should protect y'all from being raped?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Again, not talking about a jacuzzi. I ain't saying that they should get steak dinners every night. I think that a protection like that, though, is pretty basic. And those are the rights that are afforded in the Constitution that every citizen should have. That just because you go to prison does not mean that you should be subjected to violence. You should do your time. Other things don't need to come into play. It follows in that many prison inmates are not actually guilty of the crimes that put them behind bars. They would be at a significant legal disadvantage if their civil rights were denied and they were unable to obtain adequate legal representation or denied the right to bring their case to court. Without having legal rights while behind bars on parole, people like Kirk Odom would never be able to earn their freedom. Because again, if you ain't got no legal rights, it's just like, hey, you guilty, that's it. But dude sat in jail that whole time, Nigeria, knowing he didn't do it. He kept fighting. Hey, we finna bring this appeal again. Hey, look at this. Again, we've seen films and stuff like that where people have been locked up for a long time, but our legal system still affords you the right. Somebody as awful as Dylan Root, he has certain rights that are still protected in this system. It's really important that we understand this. Proving innocence is only one aspect of the need for maintaining civil rights behind prison walls. Inmates also, Malik, want to hold on to their constitutionally guaranteed rights. Again, we ain't talking about luxuries, such as the right to practice religion and be free from cruel and unusual punishment while confined in a correctional facility. But we do, Nigeria, want to ask ourselves, should cell phone use be a constitutional right? Should internet use be a constitutional right? In the 21st century, Latasia, there are many people who think that every American citizen should have internet access. Why do y'all think that is? That you should have it as a right.
You said to have internet access?
Yep, as a constitutional right, the same way that you got a right to send your child to 5th grade for free in America. Why should it be why do you think it should be why do you think that some people are saying that should be a constitutional right? It would need to be in 1810.
So,
Why might it need to be today?
Because
Don't
mostly everything we do,
There you go,
mostly
Latasia.
everything we do is on the internet.
2 extra credit points for a really deep and complicated answer. That everything that we do in 21st century America comes on the internet. If you don't have it, even as a little kid, Latasia, you're at a tremendous disadvantage. You're sending your child to 3rd grade. You ain't got no internet at the crib. Shorty over here, they got all that, like they got like, Wi-Fi up the wazoo. That child has an academic advantage over your child in that case. How we gonna be sending these inmates out here to look for jobs? So again, what we're gonna talk about going forward is how some of the rights that were afforded in the Constitution, we also had to create statutes that expanded on some of those rights as well, because society is constantly changing. It ain't just enough to say, okay, you got the right to bear arms in 1810, and now what? I got the right to carry a bazooka or something like I'm T.I.? No, you don't. Now, this is the introduction to the chapter. The rest of the chapter is going to look at what do we mean by prisoners' rights. It's going to break down in detail, Nigeria, the legalistic, the crime controlling, humanistic view. I hope you'll be able to explain this for me on Monday without notes. It's going to look at the foundations of prisoners' rights law, which we talked about. It's mainly informed through the Constitution. You guys did a really good job of identifying the rights there. Continue and look on, that Sixth Amendment, Latasia, and be able to speak to the rights that come with these amendments and how they are used for prisoners. The rights that come with these amendments and how they're used for prisoners. Again, you got the right to religion in this space. Sixth Amendment, the right to a speedy trial and impartial with an impartial jury. You got the right to be informed of your charges. All those things. Start up on statutes. I don't expect you to finish this section by Monday. Try and get to at least 8-3 between now and Monday. What's today?
Today Wednesday.
Say it again.
Today Wednesday.
What day of the week? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's February 17th.
What day of the week?
Wednesday.
Yes.
I
So
said
you got. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. So you got today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and even some on Monday. Do y'all think that y'all can find it in your busy schedules? There's space to read these pages between now and then. If you want to go further than that, you can. All I'm asking for you to do is to do the first 2 sections. Can you do that for me?
And
Yep.
you say to 8-3?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then be prepared to tell me something